Say, kids, what time is it?
It's kind of like watching TV, but, in your car.
104.7 The Cave, Mike the Intern, Jay Stevens. It is Dark Side of the Stream.
Welcome to the dark side of the stream.
We're working on a jingle right now.
That's it right there. I just wrote it. Jay's
going to have it done and
Copyright
finish
it.
the studio version.
It.
That was the live version.
Yeah,
We're going to get the
well,
studio version next week.
You get what you pay for.
That's true. But, we need it. We need our own little crazy explosion. Dark Side.
Will you look at the side-by-side? Will you look at our side-by-side right now? What's the difference you see here, Michael? Besides
Good
the fact that I'm really good looking. I got a $15 light from Walmart, and it is bomb.
And it looks pretty good. And Mike, the intern, will probably have one for
Plus
the next.
Plus, I'm tan a little bit, too. So
you're going to finally show off that tan. Of course, this is Dark Side of the Stream, a podcast we do on 104.7 The Cave, which you can download on our 104.7 The Cave app or online at 1047thecave.com. You can also join in on the fun and watch us live on Facebook every week, 9 a.m. on Thursday. Well, today's episode, I made Jay get very scientific.
Okay, I've got the disclaimer on this one. Last time I got Mike, he paid me back.
We talked about the edge of what we know.
Terrible.
Black holes. Now, why did you think this documentary was so horrible, Jay?
It was the slowest. I couldn't even understand what they were trying to tell me. I gave it 2 tries. I gave it 2 tries, and I was just like, what?
I was prepared for this. I knew that you were going to feel this way.
Out.
I just wanted to explain this to you before we go any further, and I give you the Reader's Digest version of this, or Black Holes for Dummies. It would be the same if someone was like, you know what? I want to prove UFOs are real. We've seen the video evidence. We've seen the examples, but I want to prove it. And then the world's leading scientists basically prove the video footage that we've seen that it is in fact an unidentified flying object from another world. And they use not only, scientific theories and math and everything you can think of to prove the existence of UFOs. It's not just, hey, I saw this flying in the sky. It's actually scientific evidence. That is exactly what they were doing here with black holes, because theoretically we know they exist. We can see them in the sky because you can see that there's this dark matter pulling all these things around it. You know that they're there, but until recently, we'd never actually seen one. And what this documentary does is it not only shows you what actually went into getting that very small picture that was released a while ago of the dark black circle with the little orange light around it, which is basically everything that's getting pulled into the black hole, and what it took to get that photo, what it took to prove it scientifically, and then, of course, the release of it. I loved every minute of it.
Your 2-minute synopsis you gave of me in the kitchen was more informative than this whole documentary.
Well, that's exactly what we're going to do today. Dark Side of the Stream, discussing the edge of all we know on Dark Side of the Stream on 104.7 The Cave. 104.7 The Cave, Springfield's pure classic rock. Mike the Intern, Jay Stevens, Dark Side of the Stream, episode number 44. You believe we've done this 44 times?
I can't believe that.
Hopefully we're getting better as we go
I don't know
along.
about that.
Well, we're definitely...
It's hit and miss. We have good ones and bad ones.
All right. So Jay got real confused in this documentary.
It was just slow.
Well, it is slow if you don't. I could see how you would think that, because there is so much science involved in this and theoretical physics and all this crazy stuff. So I'm going to do my best to break it down for Jay and a listener who might have watched this and was saying the same thing Jay was saying.
I'm with you. I'm with the people on this one.
What the hell is this crap? Okay, well, first we'll start with the actual photo of the black hole. They called themselves like the Event Horizon Telescope team.
Got that.
They're made of over like 200 scientists across the world. Essentially, for them to get this black hole, which is like 81 billion light years away, it's just...
I did notice that it was way out there on the galaxy map.
I really also, while we're doing this, I want to point out the animation sequences they had in this documentary I really liked. I thought that stuff was really cool. You didn't like it?
No, not as much.
All right. Well, anyway, I thought it was cool. So basically what they would have to do to get a photo of a black hole would be to have a telescope the size of the world, which is nearly impossible, to take a photo of this thing. It's got to be massive. So instead of that, they can't do that. So what they did was they took every telescope around the world in tandem and all at the same time took a picture of the same place in the sky and then compiled all that information. Now, we're not talking about, little tiny photos here. We're talking about bits of information of photons traveling 81 billion light years across the sky. They take them all, they store all that information, and then they put it all back together to give us an idea of what the image is. Now, the way I thought this was the best example, it's like if you took a mirror and you broke it up into, let's say they're 12 different pieces, and you put it all across the world, and you all shined that light at the same spot. Then you took all those pictures back and you recompiled them. That's essentially what they did. The other cool thing about this is they were so careful, and this stuff started back in 2017. Here we are, 4 years later? That's how long it took for them to do this thing. And it's mind-boggling. They took all the information. They set up 5 separate teams of different scientists to compile all the information separately so that once they were able to kind of conclude that this was the picture, all the teams would then come together and say, this is what we got. And if they were right, they'd all look the same.
I like that. Yeah. And also you get different inputs without being biased or swayed.
Exactly.
I like that.
No one talked to each other. They did it separately so that the scientific community could say, yeah, they did it exactly right. Come to find out, they are all right. Jay is looking just as bored as he must have looked while he was watching this documentary. So we're going to take a break.
I'm learning more from you, Mike, than I did from them.
Thank you. It's Dark Side of the Stream on 104.7 The Cave. Springfield's Pure Classic Rock, 104.7 The Cave. Jay Stevens, Mike
in a
the
black
intern,
hole.
trying to stay out of the black hole because you don't want to go in a black hole.
Why?
Because in essence, if you go into a black hole, you're not coming out. Now,
why?
Because the black hole...
What if you end up like in a parallel universe or something awesome?
Well, who knows what happens? But basically, the gravity in
a world where I would be the suit and you would just be the talent.
That's a good point. That's a really good point because the other part of this documentary, what we're talking about, Edge of What We Know, Black Holes, was the theoretical part of black holes. And Stephen Hawking obviously was like massive in that stuff and worked on this until he died. With a team of scientists that were trying to theoretically prove what it is black hole does. Now, early on, they knew they existed, but from what they could tell, nothing left black holes, which essentially breaks down all the rules of physics as we know them, because energy can't be created or destroyed. It's just converting constantly, right? Since the Big Bang, all that stuff happens, and then it's converting from one form to the other. Well, in a black hole, supposedly, all this stuff gets sucked in and doesn't come out. Well, they believed that they could actually prove that it does come out, but it's just different. For example, if you went in with my beard, right, and then you came out with Jay's beard, which is nothing, but it's still, he's got hair stubble, maybe some of this went to here. So essentially it changes, but it's just kind of different. So the theoretical part of this documentary I thought was cool, which definitely you can get lost in, of them trying to prove that this was happening so that the laws of physics as we understand them wouldn't get broken down. Did you follow any of that?
Again, our conversation in the kitchen is where I learned that. I'm telling you.
So so basically I watched this, paid attention, understood it, and then came back and explained it to you.
I cheated off Mike's notes on this one. Mike's cheat notes.
I almost became a teacher.
Yeah, that would have been amazing. Obviously, you did a great job in the kitchen.
Well, I think that's
it's not too late. You can be a substitute teacher, Mike. They advertise all the time. They need substitute teachers.
With kids, man, especially kids these days.
You need kids. Kids need to influence like us in their lives, not people to tell them like dumb things.
Well, if you want your kids to be taught, you can have them listen to my show 5:30 to 10 weekday mornings, or Jay's show.
Look at that plug,
3 to 7. We'll teach you something.
Plug.
I don't know what it is, but we'll teach you something. So yeah, I can see how you could get lost in this documentary, but I think if you really pay attention to what they're saying, it's mind-boggling that we are able to get this far with the information that we have and our ability to go this far. And next we will.
In the conclusion, I want to hear what the final conclusion of the black hole was. In the next segment. The next segment.
Yeah. Great tease. We'll be back.
That's how
Dark
we do
Side
it.
of the Stream on 104.7 The Cave. 104.7 The Cave, Mike the Intern, Jay Stevens. It is Dark Side of the Stream, and we are discussing
today. It's more like a book report.
Mike
the Intern is giving us a book report on a documentary.
Best, Black Holes for Dummies book that he can do.
So, what was the final verdict of this black hole search?
All right, so we're talking about black holes, the edge of all we know, and there was really two things going on here: getting the photo and theoretically proving things were happening in black holes that we had actually thought were happening or not thought, but basically saying, hey, look, our understanding of physics is actually cool and it's not broken. Because up until this point, they were saying, look, if black holes are taking all this stuff and not going out, that's an issue for, I mean, at one point, I think one of the guys was like, this is a physicist's worst nightmare because everything I've been taught up until this point is garbage. And if this is happening, we don't know why. So they had to theoretically prove that. And they did, which is pretty amazing. The other thing I thought was very cool was the sound that black holes make. Did you hear that?
No, what's the sound?
So it's real small. It was just like a little whoop. And basically the way they captured this was two black holes were orbiting each other and getting closer and closer and closer and closer and closer and closer until all of a sudden they just merged into one giant black hole. And they have the sound of it, and it just sounds like this. Whoop, 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 whoop. It's like if you took a delay pedal.
Wow. Yeah, I know what you're
and you messed with the speed of the repeat. That's literally what it sounds like.
Wow. So
we actually have the sound of a black hole colliding with another black hole. That blows my mind. It's almost as if, they always think about like aliens coming here and and we can't handle it mentally, like the idea of how they travel space and time,
right. Yeah, we can't figure out the
what
technology,
they look
right?
like, all that stuff. We just can't. Our mental
Maybe these guys are shooting through black holes, man.
That's how I felt watching this documentary. That my brain was getting just a little bit larger because I learned a lot, and to be able to hear the sound of a black hole.
My experience was a little different.
What was your experience?
I didn't experience the brain enlargement.
He's trying everything he can to get the plaque off the brain.
When I gave it a second chance yesterday for you, Michael.
I appreciate it.
I was making sushi rolls, hand rolling some sushi rolls. The many things I do.
Dude, I love sushi.
Making some sushi and watching, and I couldn't do it, man.
I'm sorry.
Couldn't do it. It's not a big deal. I
hope I was able to enlighten you.
I'm glad that you got something out of it because these guys spend a lot of time doing something here on the black holes.
And again, if you need help understanding black holes, you should definitely watch this documentary. If you need help me to explain at least the way I understand it, which could be funny, I could get some emails or some texts or comments on this thing saying,
I love it.
Intern, you're absolutely wrong. That's not exactly.
You're going to get some scientists today going, today's our day to speak up.
Mike, you're wrong.
These guys can jack with Zeppelin and Van Halen all they want, but now they're in my domain. They don't know nothing about space.
Black holes. All right, so thumbs up on Jay's new light. I'm definitely in.
Yeah, you got to get one of these lights. I'm still working out the kinks. I'll do my hair next time. Wear some sunglasses.
How many black holes will you give this?
I would give this one big black hole. Whoop.
I would give it 4. I thought it was unbelievable.
4 black holes.
I thought the animation that they used to explain certain things was really cool. I thought all the different stories because at the end of the day, we saw this as last year when they were like, hey, we finally got the photo of a black hole, and we saw this one image, and everyone was like, whoa.
See,
this documentary was literally about everything it took to get that one little tiny picture. And it's unreal.
I wish I could have enjoyed it better.
It's unreal. Blows my mind.
It is what it is,
Blows my mind. All right, so
this one was, for some reason, it just didn't register on my wavelength.
Well, I'm glad at least if I am any kind of a teacher, if I was able to teach you something about black holes today.
You did. I mean, I hope that they figure out more what's going on.
So, what is the next podcast we're going to listen to? Dark Side of the Stream
next? Well, I don't know, Mike.
It's your choice.
Is it my choice?
Yeah, I picked this one. Well, I know you wouldn't pick the black hole documentary.
Oh, man. Maybe let's just throw a curveball. Why don't we do the Pink documentary on Amazon?
The Pink documentary.
It's amazing.
You watched it twice, you told me yesterday.
It's so good.
So it was so funny because we were talking about, I was like, so on Monday, I go, hey, did you watch the Dark Side of the Stream? He's like, oh, God.
Couldn't do it right.
I tried so hard. And I just, but I did watch the Pink documentary twice.
It's amazing.
So,
it's amazing.
Hey, man, I made you sit through a bunch of science.
Yeah, and no, this one's good. I mean, it's a little bit off of our style, but it's still an amazing performer, and juggling being a parent and being a performer and running a massive corporation. It's good.
Something we kind of know a little bit about.
Yeah, we know a little bit about.
So I guess I'll watch the Pink documentary for episode 45.
And get a light so you look cute.
Oh, yeah. Get a light too. Episode 45 next week. It'll happen Thursday 9. Of course, you can stream this online on Facebook. You can stream the podcast on our 104.7 The Cave app or online at 1047thecave.com.
And now with my new light, you can find us on Tinder.
That goes for this guy. Jay Stevens, Mike the Intern, Dark Side of the Stream on 104.7 The Cave.